challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to. Nope. I'm sure you've got a perfectly good excuse. Kids, work. I get it. You're busy. So what better time than now? Let's begin. Raise one finger if you're a man. Ladies, none yet. Oh, count in your head if you're driving. Now, 3 more fingers for everyone over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40, 1 more if you're not physically active, another finger if anyone in your family has type 2 diabetes, another if you've got high blood pressure. If you're overweight, raise another finger, 2 if you're very overweight, and 3 if you're really overweight. You've just taken the world's first audio prediabetes test. And if you're holding up 5 or more fingers, visit doihaveprediabetes.org or talk to your doctor. There's no excuse because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia, an iHeart radio station.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
Finally, Clemson Sports Talk has come back to Drive Time. Hello, everybody. Lawton Swan back in the saddle once again. It is the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk for you each and every afternoon as you make your way around the great state of South Carolina and beyond, listening to us on spectacular radio stations like Fox Sports Radio 1400 in the Midlands, Sports Radio 100.1 The Fan in Florence, and 920 AM in Manning. Good to be with you here on a Friday afternoon as you make your way around the state and beyond, and I appreciate everybody listening to us not only live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, but now on our twitch.tv channel. That's twitch.tv/Clemson Sports. And I got to admit this, yesterday I fired up the big screen TV downstairs and threw on the YouTube version of the program, and while I may on the air occasionally talk about the little hitches in the giddy-up, I didn't see a single hitch in any giddy-up as it looked fantastic on a 65-inch television. So you can be a part of the program in so many ways, and yes, I have a face for radio, but it is an engaging and interactive experience for anybody, whether you are a longtime listener or a brand new listener to the program. Welcome into the show. Coming up here on the program today, a loaded lineup. Wes Durham from the ACC Network and SiriusXM joins us in just a few minutes to talk about everything going on in the world of college sports. We'll also catch up with Riley Morningstar from Upstate Today on an update from Clemson that we'll get to here in just a few minutes. And Clemson Tom in hour number 2. So we got them lined up for you on a Friday afternoon and full coverage of your Tigers on our website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com, where, wait for it, you can get a premium subscription for just $1 or $63.17 for an entire year. We'd love to have you hop in and read about the offer that Clemson gave out to the number 1 rated wide receiver in the 2022 class. Listen to Caleb Burton's reaction as he calls it a huge offer from the Tigers. Again, go check that out on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. and the unprecedented article with our interview with Bo Collins out of the state of California. All of that for our premium subscribers. If you hate typing, ClemsonRadio.com will get you there as well. But the biggest news today, and again, this is significant news out of Tigertown, was the fact that during the Board of Trustees meeting earlier today, Clemson reported over 800 tests of students and staff members, resulting in no active cases of COVID-19, 0 student athletes currently in isolation. Again, we'll talk with Wes Durham about this. We'll talk with Riley Morningstar about it as well. But this is good news from the Clemson perspective, and just that, and probably only that. While we've seen other programs around the country yielding positive results from COVID-19 tests, from the standpoint of Clemson University, this is a big deal. And I think for the first time in a long time, arguably almost a month now, this is the first time that I've walked into this show feeling like we have taken a significant step forward from the Clemson perspective only. Again, you've got a lot of institutions out there like South Carolina, and again, for our Gamecock friends who hang out with us and are a part of the program.
So you can continue to peek over the fence at the best radio show in the nation.
We do appreciate you. This is not a shot at your athletic department, but a shot at the reality of, if you're not putting out the data, we don't know where you stand. And at least what Clemson has done throughout this COVID-19 epidemic is they have been open. They have kept people aware of what the numbers look like. And even when you put out the COVID-19 numbers that, with 28 student athletes testing positive and 19 more and so on and so forth several weeks ago, the likelihood of the season being delayed, which we felt was the case 25, 26 days ago, for Clemson and Clemson alone, the odds that you play a college football season right now, or at least start one, feel much better. And so there are some of you out there that remember my interview with Paul Feinbaum, where I went on the show and talked about how the likelihood of playing, I switched my mindset before my deadline that I gave myself. I said I was going to make a decision on July 1st. I made it earlier, that we wouldn't play college football in the fall. And this news today, I know some of you are probably reacting like this.
In your face! Yeah! How do you like some apples? Woo-hoo-hoo!
And I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. But this is only Clemson. This is not a collective whole. But for Clemson, this is big. And I said to you earlier in the week when the news came out that Clemson was going to delay students' arrival on campus, that is helpful. But the bubble has to continue to exist, I think, for this football team. I think you have to also hope that COVID-19 cannot be acquired again in a calendar year, sort of like what you saw or have seen from, say, the flu. Traditionally, you get the flu and you're not susceptible to that virus for about a year's time, something in that range. Listen, I'm not a doctor, not an epidemiologist. I didn't go to, I didn't even pick up any literature today to coach me up on that. That's my life experience speaking. I don't recall many people who get the flu catching the flu again 3 weeks later or even 3 months later. It seems to be something that's a yearly cycle, kind of like chickenpox with that virus. You get it once when you're a kid, at least you used to before they had the vaccine for it. And then you don't typically get it again, but you might get shingles later. So there are things about these viruses that we know and that we don't know. And COVID-19 continues to be one where the unknowns of what the future could hold from the standpoint of anybody that's been infected by it, how frequently they can get it, when it can occur again, if it can occur again, or will it crop back up at some point later in your life? We just don't know. It's a brand new virus. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't get a little bit giddy, a little smile on my face, thinking about the possibility of the outcome of Clemson playing college football this year after the impact of the conversation of hearing 0 active COVID-19 cases in the Clemson University athletic department. Now, from that standpoint, the athletic department is expected to take a huge hit, between $70 and $135 million impact potentially from COVID-19. But this is, for Clemson Tiger fans, I'm telling you, if you're not paying attention, this is the best news that you've heard about Clemson Tiger football in a month. This is absolutely the best step forward that you could have possibly imagined. And for Clemson Tiger fans, it's a collective effort. It's not just about Clemson. Everybody has to do their part. That comes down to these other universities. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to level with you. You might not like it. It comes down to you as well. What are you doing to help mitigate the spread of a virus that asymptomatic people who don't know they have it can carry it and spread it? What are you doing? I'm going to challenge you, because this move by Clemson and this information by Clemson, and yeah, guess what? They're wearing masks. They're wiping the equipment down. They're taking precautions in order to get to a college football season. Continue to remember this. What are you doing to make sure we get to a college football season? 803-450-0086. And again, there is no guarantee that it will come or that the other schools will have such positive results. But right now, minus an abundance of students on campus, this would seem to be some very positive news out of Tiger Town. Now, last night, I did have a chance to catch a little bit of the Major League Baseball that was on. As a matter of fact, the first thing I saw, and this is just my luck when it comes to Major League Baseball and baseball in general, I got a chance to see a home run. First, second, or third pitch I watched was a home run. And the New York Yankees, of course, were taking on the Washington Nationals last night. But I think the storyline that came out of there, well, there were two. One, there was a shot of Anthony Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci, in the stands with his mask pulled down over his nose. Now, that's getting some heat from people, and people are like, well, what in the world, Doc? You're sitting by a couple of people, and you got your mask pulled down. In fairness, I'm going to say there's really nobody else at the game, so he is socially distanced, and the two people sitting beside him are probably related to him. So I've got the sneaky feeling that the mask that Dr. Fauci was wearing in the stands in that particular moment was really less about whether or not it was on his face than just having it on his person. So let's pump the brakes on the accusations about Dr. Anthony Fauci in a socially distanced environment not having his mask over his nose. Now, he definitely wasn't wearing it properly if you were going to wear it, and that was probably the hilarity of that moment. But the most hilarious thing that Dr. Anthony Fauci did yesterday was the opening pitch, which would rank among one of the worst opening pitches and first pitches before a baseball game that anybody has ever seen. And people were laughing hysterically on social media and tweeting all kinds of great things about it. Funny stuff. But I'm going to tell you this. First and foremost, there's a couple of ways to look at it. One, perhaps Dr. Anthony Fauci's decision to make such an atrocious throw to the plate. And I would encourage you to go over to social media at Clemson Sports on Twitter. We retweeted it yesterday. Perhaps it was a strategy, recognizing that the contact between his hand and the catcher with the ball would be bad potentially for social distancing. So he felt better off having the ball just kind of roll off to the left and through the dirt and grass. The second thing, and maybe the greatest aspect of this at all, were the people who tweeted things like this, essentially. That's exactly how I want my doctors to throw a baseball. That's exactly what I want my doctor to look like when he throws a baseball. Because believe me, if Dr. If Dr. Anthony Fauci throws that thing 100 miles an hour right down the pipe, I don't think I'm interested in Dr. Fauci being my doctor any longer. You know, you don't want Dr. Anthony Fauci to be the first man up in your rotation. You want Dr. Anthony Fauci to throw a pitch the way he threw it, which was terribly. I loved it. If I had been drinking a drink, I mean, honestly, if I had been drinking a drink the minute that somebody posted, the minute I read the post that somebody put out there that said, this is exactly how I want my doctors to throw a baseball.
Oh, right, guy.
I'm going to tell you, that was beautiful. It was awesome. I would have spit my drink everywhere. 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. And, you know, this has never been a show that's really done a great deal of updates throughout the baseball season of keeping you abreast of how everything's going. But, you know, with the lack of sports in our society today, I do feel compelled as the Braves and the Mets get things underway on ESPN. The Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets, Major League Baseball's opening day, 6:10 p.m. this evening. It'll be Cincinnati and Detroit. 6:40, you've got Toronto and Tampa Bay. 7 o'clock, Milwaukee and the Chicago Cubs. 7:05, Miami and Philadelphia. 7:10, Kansas City and Cleveland. 7:30, you've got Baltimore and Boston. 8:05, you've got Colorado and Texas. At 8:10 tonight, you got Minnesota and the Chicago White Sox. 8:15, you've got Pittsburgh and St. Louis. 9:10, Seattle and Houston. 9:10 also, you got Arizona and San Diego. 9:40 tonight, San Francisco and LA in Game 2. The Dodgers winning yesterday. And then at 10 p.m. tonight, you've got the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Oakland A's. So a loaded baseball lineup again this evening, and it did feel good to have a little Major League Baseball on yesterday. But the Braves and the Mets just getting underway as the MLB's Day 1 are scheduled to get underway here shortly. The Braves and the Mets getting things rocking and rolling as Major League Baseball has begun. A shortened season, but a season nonetheless. And for baseball fans everywhere, last night, a final in 6 innings. The New York Yankees 4, Washington 1, and then again the Dodgers beating San Francisco 8-1, and nothing like a little rain delay as well in your season opener just to remind you that hey, baseball plays in the elements, even if it's not COVID-19 keeping your season from getting started, then it's Mother Nature. Ending that matchup early, again, 4-1, the New York Yankees defeating the Washington Nationals in that stormy opener there in Washington, D.C. 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. Great irony, right? Coronavirus shortens the season, and the elements shorten the opening game, but it was a very emotional day, I think, for sports fans in America to see America's pastime getting out there. And even though Matt Scherzer, the 3-time Cy Young Award winner, served up that 2-run homer early on to Giancarlo Stanton, it's one of those, it's one of those moments where it felt like sports was back, and watching it. Watching the ball leave the park and nobody there to fetch it was also kind of funny. And then all of a sudden, here comes a gentleman with a clipboard and a mask and a pencil, and he just walks over and scoops up the baseball. So it was good. It was good. That felt almost normal. The rain delay made it feel more normal if you're a baseball fan, and ultimately. The ending of that ball game due to the weather, but it was baseball, and there'll be baseball today, and I know fans are excited about that. But again, I think the news out of Tiger Town today was a step in the right direction. I think at least for this school and this university, that's the best news you've heard in a while. Let us know what you think. 803-450-0086, Clemson Sports Talk, each and every afternoon, 4 to 6 in the Midlands, 6 to 8 in the PD and the Low Country, and anytime you want via the podcast editions, which I would, again, encourage you to download, subscribe, and if you're watching this show right now, like and share it. Help us continue to grow the show that shakes the Southland in a multitude of ways, because, quite frankly, the show is better when you're a part of it, and the website is better when you're a part of it. And I've said it for a while, and I use this term, the brains of the operation, loosely, but we produce the content over on ClemsonSportsTalk.com, but you're the heartbeat. And we need your heart over in our forums, posting your thoughts and comments as well. If you've never considered subscribing, we'd love to have you step in for just $1 to try it out. You can get free subscriptions as well, but we'd love to have you go premium, and we'd love to have you post in our forums. We'd love to have your support, because we've been doing it for a long, long time, and the website is still a very new venture for us, but it's one we think you will appreciate when you head over there and check it out. Again, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Listen to the show, read the articles, but most importantly, post your thoughts. All right, coming up here on the program, Wes Durham. He's on Twitter at Wes Durham, and again, he is the co-host of Packer and Durham on the ACC Network and SiriusXM. He joins us today to talk about everything going on in the world of college sports. We'll talk about Notre Dame and the Atlantic Coast Conference. We'll talk with him as well about the news out of Tigertown that we just brought to light for you a few minutes ago. And if you are a premium subscriber to our website, make sure you've got notifications turned on, because we did send out a text notification about that very positive news out of Clemson that came out earlier today. We hit a quick break. We come back. Wes Durham here on the show that shakes the Southland.
Here's your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword HAPPY to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's HAPPY to 200-200.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic tie-ups this afternoon.
You can subscribe to the show. Make sure you share it if you're watching it. And we're just going to keep growing it, man, on all the platforms. So appreciate each and every one of you being a part of it. Wes Durham coming up here on the program. You can text us, 803-450-0086, or you can call that number and leave us a message. But we're going to be rocking and rolling with Wes Durham here in just a second. Stay with us.
Every year, our iHeartRadio Music Festival brings you legendary performances. For our 10th anniversary this year, stream free on the CW app and CWTV.com, September 18th and 19th, and listen on iHeartRadio.
This is the iHeartRadio Music Festival. It's the festival where anything can happen. Capital One is a proud partner of the iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to their customers. What's in your wallet?
When you get in your car, you need the best directions to get where you want to be.
Will arrive at your retirement in 8
The
years.
same is true for your retirement. You need a voice to guide you along the way. Join Pat Struby for Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby. Pat's 18 years of experience can help make your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street.
Arriving at your retirement.
Saturdays, 6 a.m. on Fox Sports Radio, and Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 9 on 560 WVOC for Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
Hey, it's Jonathan Rush for Clark's Lawn and Landscaping. You know Clark's, the name South Carolinians have trusted for decades for pest control. Now you can trust them in your lawn. You know, it was an unseasonably cool month of May. Maybe your grass hasn't grown like it normally would at this point in the year. Well, now is a great time for grass to start seriously growing. So it's time to seriously fertilize. Call Clark's. They know exactly which fertilizers and weed control. Don't let weeds be a pain in your grass. Call Clark's Lawn and Landscaping at 781-4991. Online, clarksturfpro.com.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm place on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy
When I grow up,
backsplash.
I want to be a bike that races around the When country. I grow up, I want to be a bench on a forest trail. I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch. I want to be a skyscraper. I want to be
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Now, back to Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for the 2018 National Championship Tigers, Fox Sports Radio 1400.
It is the show that shakes the Southland. Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan and my good buddy Wes Durham hanging out with us this afternoon. Wes, it's been a little while since we've had you on, and boy, the landscape of college football has seemingly shifted back and forth, but man, always good to catch up with you.
Thanks, Lawton. Good to be with you, man.
Yeah, I look at, the times that we are in late June, my opinion about college football shifted significantly, and I said, hey, look, I don't see how you make it happen. And I still have a lot of questions about it, but there was some news out of Clemson earlier today that at least I think gave a glimmer of hope to Tiger Nation, and that is that there are no current active COVID-19 cases, no student athletes in isolation, nobody in the athletic department with COVID-19. I mean, I don't know if that's a step towards college football or not, but in a day and age where I'm just looking for positive news, Wes, that felt fantastic.
Well, I'm gonna go with that, but I will also add this, and certainly you're doing a Clemson-centric program, and that's great news for folks at Clemson. We need that across the board, Lawson.
Yes.
I mean, this is not going to be a singular scenario that brings college football back one way or the other. It's going to be something that has to galvanize everybody. And so, yeah, I think that, look, the institutions are trying to do something here they've never done, okay? That's the number one thing everybody needs to understand. And yes, while there can be some parallels to what is going on in professional sports, be it MLS, the WNBA, the NBA, I visited with someone last night on the phone who is covering the NFL and seeing the installation that the NFL is going to try and do. And really, college football the NFL is going to mirror more of what Major League Baseball does. But college is a completely different animal from those, because we're not talking about every student that attends, in this case, Clemson, being tested like every student athlete's going to be tested. You follow me?
Right.
So I think it's important, yes. What is being said today by Clemson after their Board of Trustees meeting, certainly very, very important. What does that look like when, let's go with what President Clement said earlier this week. What does that look like when September 21st, 20-some thousand people come back to campus? What does it look like then? What are going to be the protocols to bring the traditional student back to campus at Clemson? I graduated from Elon. I've read what they're going to do to bring back, less than 5,000 students. So, there are different sizes that are going to fit a lot of different institutions. What they do at Wake Forest for a general student body may not be what they do at Clemson or NC State or FSU. Or you've got to understand that, yes, the student athletes and the chance to play football is going to be important. But we're still a long way from touching home plate on this one, I think.
On Twitter, he's at Wes Durham, and again, he is the co-host of Packer and Durham on the ACC network. And from that standpoint, Wes, I think you're all over it. My concern is when the students arrive. Clemson's pushing back that arrival date. I think the 13th they can get on campus. The 20th classes will start. We know the college football season is scheduled to begin prior to that. So you feel like these athletic departments recognize, okay, we've got a chance to get maybe some games in if we do this thing the right way and if it all works out. But could we see the NCAA allowing athletic dorms only, 100% athletes, so that they can put themselves in a bubble to try to keep these seasons alive to a degree? Or do you think ethically that would be, and I will add digital classes maybe for the student athletes, or ethically, do you think once the student body's back, these student athletes have to get back into the student body in general?
I think if they were going to do something from a housing perspective, Lawton, it would have been done a long time ago. They're not going to do that in late July, early August. I mean, that's just not going to happen now. I think if that were something they thought about, they would have put that track in motion, a long time ago, late spring, to be honest. Look, the reality of it is that, there's certain things out there we know that kind of, quote, flatten the curve, and that's going to have to be the thing we go with here. And what you're seeing play out across college athletics is, and Mark said it earlier this week on the show, it's the difference between have and have not. I mean, it just is. And I hate to be as cold-blooded about it, but there's some people just simply cannot afford the testing. That's why you have seen the games. I mean, these FCS leagues, they can't test. They cannot. A lot of those institutions, Lawton, just cannot afford the testing. I mean, I mentioned Elon a moment ago where I went to school. They're a member of the Colonial Athletic Association. Their testing protocols at Elon may be very different than, say, Furman, who's in the Southern Conference, or Wofford, or, whatever the case may be. That's why you're seeing some of these leagues just say, hey, look, we're going to pack this in and play in the spring. It's not as big a line item. When we're going to get ourselves into a tough spot is going to be when an FBS league says, hey, look, we're not going to make a go of this, okay? Right. Because what that's going to do is that's going to take an 85 scholarship institution or institutions, the conference per se, out of play. So all the ideas, again, that's why we've had to fence in the leagues, if that makes sense. That's why the Big Ten, even though I thought they went early, they went and did their thing. Pac-12 is going to do their thing, and it's clear now that the coalition of the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12 is at work here to try and pull this off. And I think part of the reason those three are together, number one, the ACC and the SEC has a business agreement with ESPN. Let's be honest. They have a vested interest in trying to pull this off, right? Big 12 has a pseudo arrangement with Fox, so they have an interest in trying to pull this off. But the reality, strange or not, is that, this does come down to money and resources, and the Power 5 institutions tend to have a little more of it than the rest of us.
No, that's a great point. Wes Durham here on the show that shakes the Southland, and I know we got a break coming up in just a second, but Wes, I want to reflect on some of the things that you just brought up, because that's been sort of at the forefront of my conversations for the past few weeks. Again, you can follow Wes on Twitter at Wes Durham. Again, he is the co-host of Packer and Durham. He's also the voice of the Atlanta Falcons, and it's certain to be a unique time for him as well as he gets set for whatever is to come. And I think for so many people out there, the excitement today, at least from the Clemson perspective, should be real. And I think that is part of the reason why when things looked so bad a month ago in Tiger Town, I took that to heart and recognized how difficult I thought it would be for college football to take place. I still believe there is an immense amount of uncertainty. Our poll question is up right now over on Facebook. Will Clemson football be the only fall sport that plays in Tiger Town this year? Go check that out. We come back. We reflect more with Wes Durham here on the show that shakes the Southland. You can text us as well, 803-450-0086. More with Wes Durham after this.
A grand in your hand.
That would help out a ton.
Winner.
Amazing.
After winner.
This will be very helpful.
After winner.
Definitely keep me going until I hopefully go back to work soon.
You could be next.
This helps a lot.
Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up.
Listen for your cue to text on Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Hey golfers, have you been to the golf capital of the world yet? Myrtle Beach Golf offers a variety of custom packages featuring nearly 80 courses. Golfers have the option to create the exact experience they're looking for. Plus, Myrtle Beach Golf provides top-notch accommodations with over 15 resorts, all guaranteed to be a hole-in-one. Come join us for a short drive away in Myrtle Beach for your best golf trip by par. Book now at myrtlebeachgolf.com.
When a community grows, its hospital should grow too. And that's just what we're doing at Lexington Medical Center. We recently launched the largest hospital expansion project in South Carolina history. Our new 10-story patient tower will help us take better care of patients, including the tiniest infants who need special attention. It will also make room for the growing number of patients who need surgery and intensive care. At Lexington Medical Center, our mission to serve our community never wavers. We're here when you need us today, and we'll be there when you need us tomorrow.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason a couple of years ago, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." When I asked him why, he said, "Because when I go outside to play, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me a hero, when all I did was call my good buddy Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe. With their routine service plan, no more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. That's 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again.
Live from the $1,500 instant rebate AAA Heating and Air Weather Center.
Look for clearing skies tonight with lows in the low 70s. Tomorrow, highs in the low 90s. We'll see some clouds and some active late-day storms. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
Every year, Steve Faircal climbs the stairs at the John Hancock Center in Chicago, 94 floors to the top.
It's called the hustle up the Hancock.
It's hard to believe when you watch Steve today that a few years ago, his lungs were failing and he was fighting to survive.
For 8 hours a day, someone was pounding on my chest to try and keep my lungs clear. I honestly don't think I had more than a couple weeks to live.
That's when Steve received the gift of life, a double lung transplant made possible by an organ donor.
After I got my new lungs, I started doing things that I had never been able to do. I never knew that breathing could feel this good.
Steve climbs to honor his donor and to raise awareness for organ, eye, and tissue donation.
Wouldn't you like that when you left this beautiful planet, that you could save a few lives on your way out? It's an incredible gift.
Imagine what you could make possible by leaving behind the gift of life. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Our local restaurants need all the help we can give them right now. Win $1,000 and leave a huge tip at your favorite place on Fox Sports Radio 1400.
It is Clemson Sports Talk on a Friday afternoon. Wes Durham, the ACC Network, joining us here, co-host of Packer and Durham. And you mentioned before the break about the ACC, the SEC, and the Gary Stokan at the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic has a lot to lose if those conferences don't get something worked out, given the 3 games that they've got scheduled the first week of the regular season in Atlanta.
Well, Lawton, we left. I mean, I've used this line for many, many years. We left the land of homecoming dances and letter jackets a long time ago. Okay, I mean, we really did. I mean, if you went, like, I grew up going to football games in the 1970s, and it was a much simpler time, right? I mean, there rarely was a game on television, and radio was the fabric, and fans used to dress up and wear coat and ties. I mean, you remember. I mean, it's just the way it was, right?
Right.
Well, in the mid-'80s, when the college football, the CFA was born and the deregulation of television occurred from the NCAA with football on television, that's when the change started. And ever since then, it's been this building tidal wave. And that tidal wave reached a crescendo when, and just quick history here, when we went from the BCS, whose guaranteed rights fee was $185 or $86 million a year, to the CFP, whose guaranteed rights fee was $475 million a year. I always say we went from drinking 7-Eleven coffee to drinking Starbucks. Okay, I mean that's just where this is, and the people that argue, and again, we don't have nor time nor space to do why aren't the student athletes getting compensated? the reality of it is that has allowed a lot of things to happen in college athletics. That's allowed a lot of things to happen, in particular Clemson. It's any school in the Power Five. These big land-grant institutions have been able to expand athletic offerings, not only for Title IX, but for everybody. And, you know, it's meant a much more broader and, in my opinion, deeper experience of college athletics and college life for these young people. I mean, I was fortunate to see it up close at Georgia Tech for many, many years, and I've now in television been able to see it activated on all these campuses. But now we're seeing just how fragile or how narrow the wire is that college athletics has to walk. I mean, when Barry Alvarez at Wisconsin says, hey, look, if we don't play these home games, we're going to lose $100 million, or March Laybaugh or Paula Levine right on ESPN.com 3-4 weeks ago that if college football in the Power Five doesn't go, that's a loss of $4 billion. People need to know the game has changed. And I think the testing and the resources, and if we have to separate here, we have to separate here. I mean, it's, you know, if the Power Five has to move on from the rest of FBS football, then, you know, now it may have taken a pandemic, but now may be the time.
It is something to watch him each and every day. You can hear him on Packer and Durham on Sirius XM and the ACC network. And, you know, from that standpoint, Wes, I look at the Atlantic Coast Conference. I know and have heard you and Mark kind of going back and forth a little bit on this recently. The conversations about Notre Dame and the likelihood that not only will the Fighting Irish end up playing an Atlantic Coast Conference schedule this season, but it seems like maybe the most favorable schedule model that the ACC wants to put together could place the Fighting Irish with an opportunity to play in a conference championship game. Where are you on that, and what are you hearing?
Where I am on it is I understand it if it happens. I totally get it, okay? Because when Notre Dame was admitted into this conference under what I call the football IPO, you know, and they've been a marvelous member in good standing across the board since they joined this league. You know, and the ACC is being an incredible partner with Notre Dame. To my way of thinking, you know, again, much like I said a moment ago about the break in maybe Power Five and the rest of Division I FBS football law, and it may take a pan to be the first step in getting it done. You know, and look, I think Notre Dame needs the ACC, and to a degree, the ACC needs Notre Dame. I mean, I'll drill right down to the Clemson Notre Dame game. That's a game that has to happen. If we're going to play college football this year, that game has to happen for both institutions, quite frankly. You know, and this may be blasphemy in the Palmetto State, but I probably feel stronger about Notre Dame Clemson playing than I do South Carolina Clemson. Okay, only because I think that game has that much power to it, Lawton. I do. I think nationally that game, if we're going to play a college football schedule, that game has a lot of thump to it nationally. And that's why I say it may have more to it than Clemson, South Carolina. I'm not trying to, you know, downgrade the Gamecocks or Coach Tanner or certainly my buddy Will Muschamp. I'm just saying, look, Notre Dame Clemson is a big game. That's a top 5 game in this country right now. And we don't even know when it's going to be played or if it's going to be played. And you consider we lost Washington and Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon early. Right. We were all hyped up about Alabama, USC. I mean, Notre Dame Clemson now is a game that's moving north on that list. And I thought it was top 5 already, and it may even be, you know, 1 or 2 by the time we get what the real schedule is going to be. So let's be honest. If the ACC can help Notre Dame, and it just so happens that Notre Dame wants to, and we abolish divisions. That's the other thing too. This season's probably not going to have the Atlantic and the Coastal Division lot. And, you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but there have been a lot of people that have kind of been down on the division thing for the last 3 years, right?
Sure.
And so let's see what it's like without division. This is a unique college football season. And, you know, it's funny. We had the story on the show yesterday where Roddy Jones first hatched this Notre Dame Clemson playing twice idea. And I thought I was going to have straitjacket Packer, you know. I mean, you know,
yeah.
And maybe we will. I mean, you know, and maybe Notre Dame and Clemson do play twice. And when we finished the show yesterday, it reminded me of my dad and I in my parents' kitchen in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, when I told him that the ACC didn't go from 9 to 12, that the conference might be in real trouble. And he thought I was going to burn the house down by adding 3 schools into the league. And, you know, I got to be honest with you, Lawton, as much as we love traditions and as much as we love things that will happen, annually in our lives because of college athletics and the schools and stuff we support. Sometimes you got to understand the game changes in front of you for reasons you can't control. Well, we certainly couldn't control COVID, and now all of a sudden we're going to have a very unique college football season because of it. And if that means Notre Dame has a chance to play in the ACC championship, okay, I'm there. Does that also mean that in 3 to 5 years Notre Dame's a football member of this league? Then you know what? I might really be on it more than you think I am, because I think that's what the IPO was all about when Notre Dame joined this league prior to 2016.
He is all over it. Wes Durham, again, co-host of Packer and Durham on SiriusXM and also the ACC Network, hanging out with us here on a Friday afternoon. We'll put him back on hold. We got a couple of more minutes, I think, left with Wes, and we'll see if we can't get a little bit more out of him on this front for sure, from the standpoint of the ACC and what college football could look like. We hit a quick break. We come back. Don't forget Riley Morningstar in hour number 2, along with Clemson Tom. So a loaded show here on a Friday afternoon. Stay with us.
Michael, when are you going to start that deck you promised to build me?
Soon, dear.
So, have you got the supplies?
Yes, dear.
Have you called 811 to have the utilities marked?
Oh, no. I knew I was forgetting something.
You've got a list of digging projects you have to get done, but remember, it's fast, free, and it's easy. So, no matter the season, call or click 811 for every project. It's the law.
Sponsored by South Carolina 811, SCBA, and this station.
Group training is a fun, accountable way to get in shape. I'm Coach Stewart of Dynamic Health and Fitness. Come train with one of our special groups today. We will focus on giving you the support you need to get in shape. We use the Dynamic Mob, featuring intervals of cardio, functional training, and strength training to change your lifestyle to make you healthy. Get started today at any of our locations in Lexington or West Columbia, or call 803-408-4060 or online at dynamichealthclub.com.
Have you looked at the prices at the pump lately? Yeah, they're going up. What if you could save up to 25 cents per gallon? Start saving today with Gas Buddy. The Gas Buddy app works at every gas station in the U.S. and has been downloaded more than 90 million times. So if you see those prices at the pump going up, join the millions of Gas Buddies saving every day by downloading the free Gas Buddy app or visiting GasBuddy.com. Stop paying too much for gas and put a little more cash back in your pocket. Gas Buddy. Save 25 cents per gallon.
Plumbing problems, large or small, OnCall is here for you 24/7 to take care of your plumbing needs. OnCall has trained technicians, not trained salespeople, and they'll fix it right the first time. Be assured OnCall stands by our community and is taking the necessary safety precautions to keep you and their technicians safe. Contact OnCall Plumbing, Heating, and Air 24/7 at 803-781-HELP or OnCallSC.com.
OnCall Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Pick up the phone and we'll be right there.
Everyone is talking about David Horowitz's new book, Blitz. It's a #1 Amazon bestseller and just hit the New York Times bestseller list. Blitz reveals the truth about Trump. Don Jr. and Mike Huckabee say you need to get Blitz. And follow David Horowitz every night on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable TV channel. Get the new bestseller Blitz at bookstores, or get the free offer and save $28. Call 800-NEWSMAX or go to blitz411.com. That's blitz411.com.
I'm Devin Leary.
And I'm Carolina Barlow.
And we have lost so much to our failed romantic relationships. We're talking time, money,
mental health capacity, clothes,
Starbucks rewards points, insurance premiums, dignity, even a flat screen TV.
Now we're making advertisers pay us to record podcast episodes about it because fair is fair, folks.
iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, and it's easy to see why. Find True Romance on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeart Radio station.
It's a Friday afternoon as you make your way home. Lawton Swan, Wes Durham joins the program here. Wes, you were talking before the break. It reminds me a lot of the times we're in right now where they're just testing anything like preseason hoops and how you just say, hey, we're going to have a new lane, etc. I mean, we just roll the dice. We're having fun here. I mean, quite frankly, I'm watching baseball, and I don't even like baseball last night, and there's no fans in the stands. So you mentioned Clemson in South Carolina. Kind of crazy, you know how these rivalries are. People, the tradition, all that stuff they want to hold on to.
Oh yeah, I know.
If I had posed this question a year ago, should Clemson and South Carolina kick off the season with the opening game just to get it out of the way, keep the longest uninterrupted non-conference rivalry running, it would have been like 10 to 15% people would have said yes. 95% West was the number of people that said they would like to see that game be the opener. I was dumbfounded by that stat.
Well, you shouldn't be, because I think that that's the way it's going to have to go, in all honesty. I'm not going to be terribly surprised if the 10+1 is approved. And I have other questions about the structure of the format, okay, and the structure of the schedule. That's a whole nother element of this. I think those 4 games will be played to start the year. That's just my opinion.
Wow.
I think that you'll see Tech, Georgia, Florida, Florida State, Clemson, South Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky to start the year. And hear me out on this, Lawson.
Sure.
I think the reason you're going to do it is because of the convenience and the regionalization of moving these teams for the first time. I wouldn't be surprised if Virginia Tech falls in that category. Wouldn't be surprised if you saw State Duke open the season, Wake Carolina, whatever combination of games. You may see State Carolina open. And the reason being is because you can move them around on buses. You don't have to get them on planes. You don't have to. And again, we're talking about the testing concept. We're talking about how all this is going to formulate itself. Remember, Notre Dame is supposed to play Louisville. Think about how close South Bend and Louisville are, right? Wouldn't be surprised if you saw Notre Dame Louisville early. Now, Notre Dame and Navy are going to play. I'm almost the history between those two particular institutions is very, very important and very, very strong to both.
Right.
So Navy and Notre Dame may play, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Notre Dame and Louisville play simply because of the convenience factor. By the way, I think that's got a chance to happen in the SEC too. Now, I don't know about Auburn, Alabama, because that's an intergalactic war that fought on this planet. But Vanderbilt, Tennessee, that maybe Kentucky, UT, Mississippi State, Ole Miss,
right?
Arkansas, LSU. I think you got a real chance to see the regional games come up early, because Lawton, these processes. These are going to be slow, man. I mean, you're going to have to remember, we're going to expand the bench area. I don't know if the little known rule that's been discussed, the bench area is going to go from the 15 to the 15 now on either sideline, so everybody spreads out more. Okay. We don't know what the concept of fan attendance is going to be. I think that race in Bristol a week ago was really, really important. I know that a lot of ADs and college commissioners are trying to get feedback from Steve Pierce, the new CEO of NASCAR, on how that went. They did not allow tailgating in Bristol. They didn't allow, face coverings going in. You could, once you got to your seat, you could take your face covering off. It was all sorts of little different nuances. We still got, 40 days from today is kickoff, but in reality, I don't think we're going to play until mid to late September. And, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw those games early. I really wouldn't, just based on kind of the logistics of firing the season off.
Final question for you. Wes Durham here on Clemson Sports Talk this afternoon. Wes, the ruling, or I guess not necessarily a ruling, but the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, saying there will be no fans in attendance. That affects, obviously, Syracuse and the ACC. My gut at first was like, will the other universities stand in unison and not have fans? But I just assumed that Syracuse is going to kind of be, right now at least, out there on their own with no fans in attendance, if that indeed is the case.
I think we all, again, I'll go back to being, hey, this is 2020 and it's not 2017. I think we're all going to have to go back to understanding that what happens here is going to be different. And you may say, Wes, what are you talking about? Clemson, South Carolina starting a year and no fans. Well, that's going to be up to the governor of South Carolina, just like it's going to be up to the governor in Georgia and Roy Cooper in North Carolina and Florida with DeSantis and, Kay Ivey in Alabama. I mean, she says Alabama, Auburn, no fans. Guess what? Alabama, Auburn, no damn fans. I mean, we're all going to have to respect this. And, and I'm not making a political statement here, Lawton, but the reality is we're in this situation because we didn't
eat
hold
the frog.
on to this.
Yeah, we didn't eat the frog.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't do what we were supposed to do for maybe 45 days. And people can lay blame, and that's not for me. I'm just saying we got to find a way to slow this thing down. We know what slows it down now and things like that. So if it causes us to have games without fans, it causes us to have games without fans, and they play, but we're able to get the live sports. I mean, you said you watch baseball. Yeah, I watch some baseball, and I'm not a big fan either. I like going to games live.
Yeah.
But I think that I think the idea of it is if we get a season, and Mark said this on the show, and I agree with it. If you told me today we're going to get 8 games, I'd take it and run. I would take it and run.
Me too.
Now, are you telling me we're going to get 8 games without fans? No. You just said 8 games. You didn't tell me. I'll take 8 games regardless of how we get it. I mean, I've had a lot of people ask me, well, Wes, how are you going to do these games if you go to them? Are you going to do them from a studio? Or are you going to do them from, the stadium? I don't know. But if they tell me to go do a game and it happens to be from my house like some of the baseball's been done, guess what? I'm going to do the game from my house, right? So, we'll figure this out. But I think people have to understand 2020 is very, very different for us in a lot of ways for college football.
Again, Packer and Durham each and every day, the ACC Network on Sirius XM as well. Wes, I appreciate you being a friend of the program so much, and your insight's always greatly appreciated for our listeners as well. And looking forward to catching up with you again, hopefully before whenever the college football season begins.
Take care, Lon.
Wes Durham here on the show that shakes the Southland. 803-450-0086. Got a couple of text messages coming in. We'll get to those momentarily. And also, hour number 2, Riley Morningstar will be joining us. He's going to bring you some insight into the news out of Tigertown with the meeting that took place earlier today surrounding the Clemson University Board of Trustees. So we've got all that plus Clemson. Tom, 20 minutes past the hour in hour number 2. Hang out with us here on the show that shakes the Southland. Check out our website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. We hit a quick break. We come back, hour 2, right around the bend.
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports. Fox Sports Radio 1400. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic tie-ups this afternoon as you get set for your ride home for the weekend. Dreer Shoals at Salem Church, also Two Notch at Wildwood Park. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line is 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by AARP and the Ad Council. For those fortunate enough to care for the person who has always been their hero, AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Johnson & Johnson's baby powder and shower-to-shower talcum products have been linked to ovarian cancer. In February and May 2016, Johnson & Johnson was ordered to pay $72 million and $55 million by 2 juries to 2 women who contracted ovarian cancer after years of using talcum baby powder products. If you or a family member has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and used talcum powder prior to the diagnosis, call Talcum Powder Help Now today at 800-833-0112. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. The consultation is free and you'll pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Don't fight this alone. If you or a loved one used talcum baby powder-based products before being diagnosed or died from ovarian cancer, call Talcum Powder Help Now at 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112.
Paid for by Bar Justice.
At AAA Heating and Air, get an instant manufacturer's rebate of $1,500 plus 0% financing for qualified applicants and a 15-year parts and labor warranty. Call 677-1500 today.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Tiger fans, look no further than the Tiger Sports Shop in Clemson for all your game day needs.
Since 1974, they've brought you everything Clemson for the Clemson fan. With quality brands such as Nike, Antigua, Cutter and Buck, and Champion, plus many more. From hats to t-shirts to tailgate, the Tiger Sports Shop has all the Clemson gear a true Tiger fan needs. With 2 convenient game day locations in Tigertown, shop where I shop at Dr. I.M. Ibrahim's Tiger Sports Shop. They fuel the passion of Tiger fans everywhere. Check them out online, tigersports.com.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. MAD is here to help. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. Feedthepig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to ditch the car and start rollerblading to work.
I look ridiculous.
You look ridiculous!
You don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your organs on the black market.
Lie back. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, that hurts. You don't need to rent out your apartment to drifters.
I made a fire with the wood in your bedroom.
That's my dresser!
And your closet door.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Imagine if I told you that an earthquake was going to hit tomorrow right where you live. That it would be 6.5 in magnitude with aftershocks occurring twice 25 minutes apart. You'd no doubt talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you an earthquake will happen tomorrow, but what if it does? Shouldn't you have a plan? Visit scemd.org and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by the South Carolina Emergency Management Division, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia, an iHeart radio station.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set! Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's true. This shakes the Southland Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan hanging out with you here on a Friday afternoon. Clemson Tom coming up in just a little bit, but Riley Morningstar joins the program right now to talk about the events that took place up at Clemson earlier today. We've mentioned these things a little bit during the first hour of the program, but Clemson's Board of Trustees meeting along with a drop-in from Dan Radakovich taking place. And Riley, welcome into the show, man. It's been far too long, but we're glad we got you back on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. The trustees meeting went a little long today, but we weren't expecting to get athletic director Dan Radakovich, but he popped in near the end of the public session, so we've got a few things to definitely cover today.
Well, from that standpoint, and I think it's important to note this, and we were talking with Wes Durham from the ACC Network a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is good news for Clemson, finding out that there are no active COVID-19 cases in the athletic department from the players and the staff. But this is not necessarily, hey, we're having college football season, because it's going to take the collective whole of college football to really pull this thing off. But from that standpoint, what was your immediate reaction to hearing no active cases, no one in isolation, et cetera?
Well, first of all, that's great for everyone's health, and hopefully they can keep that up. I believe they're going to test them again maybe the first week of August. I think that's off the top of my head. But, it's good news, but by no means are we out of the woods yet, unfortunately. But it's going to come up. It's going to eventually be the ACC calling the shots. And, Dan said, I believe it was August 3rd or 4th, they will have a final board of directors announcement, at least for the time being, But the key, or the word that we have been hearing so much, is fluid. Everything is fluid, as I know listeners and sports fans know. I mean, the way March Madness went down, you could have told someone a week ago, we're not having the tournament at all, and I think they would have just been blown away. And it's just going to be fluid. And again, Dan also talked about the surveys that were sent out to IPTE donors. I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they got a 70% response rate of about 12,000 people that it was sent to. So from what I understand and what I've seen people say, that's a really good rate to get people to respond. And, of course, you're going to have a lot of Clemson football fans that care and they want to give their opinion. But 83% say they're comfortable with going to games with social distancing. So I think, as everyone probably has accepted by now, we're not going to have a full stadium. And I think they'd be ready to admit that too. So fluidity, everyone's going to have to be flexible, and hopefully they're going to be able to pull off the season.
Riley Morningstar, upstatetoday.com, and again on Twitter at RB Morningstar with us here today. And he had full updates over on his Twitter account from Clemson University's Board of Trustees meeting a little bit earlier today. You mentioned the response rate. I mean, that is a tremendous number. I think it was 8,500 out of the 12,000 that were sent. And, I wonder, just to a degree, Riley, if of that 83% that said they're comfortable, if that's really just a portion of it. I think is certainly just people that want to get back to normal, and they're willing to do whatever it takes.
Absolutely. And an interesting nugget that they had on the last slide for the survey, and I'm sure they probably have a much more thorough breakdown. Again, I didn't get any surveys, so I'm sure there are probably more questions. They probably have them assigned a certain way, but 21% say they would tailgate without tickets to the game. And you got to think, out of 8,500 people, a quarter of that, or close to a quarter, said that they'd show up regardless. How many people that aren't IPTE donors, how many people would just show up as well? So these are all, it's insane, the models and the predictions that this administration over in Clemson are trying to juggle. And I think there's going to be a demand of people that want to go to the game, regardless if cases continue to spike or worsen, because people just care about football here.
Now, from your gut, Riley, do you think that the college football season will kick off on time, or do you think things will be backed up? I mean, there really are a couple of different camps on all of this right now. I think the student population not returning at least until the 13th, and then classes beginning on the 20th, helps me feel like early September kickoffs are possible. But, what's your gut? I know you're a guy that's covered sports before, as well as everything that you cover now for upstatetoday.com. But from that standpoint, what's your gut tell you about the college football season?
Yeah, by no means is it a informed decision or educated. So I'll go ahead and preface it with that. But, I think I'd say it's a good sign the way that we're moving with saying, practice is beginning August 5th. That's great news that they're still committed to doing that. I am in the camp that I wouldn't be surprised if the season was delayed 2 weeks or they shortened it to 10 games. But like I said, again, that's just me reading everything on social media, that kind of stuff. But it's tough because when they made the announcement Wednesday that Clemson wouldn't be returned, or they would just start solely online for a month.
Right.
You go and look at the Clemson football calendar. You got at Georgia Tech, I think it's September 3rd, and ACC competition can't begin until September 1st. So that's really close. And how do you have games? I believe September 12th is either Louisville or Akron. I might have the date or the opponents mixed up, but on the 12th and 19th, Clemson is going to have home games.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to have classes resume until the 21st, that's really strange. And then move-in is supposed to start the day after that 12th game, so the 13th. It's going to be so strange. And I didn't watch any of the baseball games last night or Thursday night. And it's just going to be such a weird vibe if the students aren't moved in and it's just going to be off campus. I don't know.
Big
I still
Ten
think
teams
that
do
we're
it.
probably going to get a 2-week delay.
Yeah, there's some Big
Mhm.
Ten teams that do it, I believe, already, and it will be strange. And you got the dates and everything right on that front. I mean, it would be unique, but it almost makes you feel like, knowing what we know about COVID-19, that you're kind of opening yourself up, if you do that, keep the students off campus, to maybe getting in 5 or 6 games before COVID-19 maybe crops its head up into your athletic department and your football team. I don't know. It's so tough because I was talking with Wes Durham earlier, and he said, look, I think if you pose to fans right now, hey, I can guarantee you 8 games, that people would take it immediately. And I think they would take 6 games if you could give them that.
Yeah, absolutely. The only, it's not just about, of course, the fans want the games, but financially, with the TV contracts and the university, the university's accounts, from what I understand, are separate from the athletic department. So the money that you're paying to IPTAY just stays in IPTAY. So the athletic revenues that they're projecting for fiscal year 21, which we're already in, they're expecting a $30 to $50 million impact. And they didn't elaborate on whether that means the season's happening, that kind of stuff. But that just shows how big of a deal, money-wise, this all is to the university and athletics. And I just don't know. There's just going to be so much juggling this year, regardless of what happens. And then I'm sure you probably saw, but Brett McMurphy, I believe, was the one that reported this on Friday, that essentially if you test positive, like a lot of Clemson players did in June and earlier this month, they won't have to take another COVID test until September, October, whatever the 3 months out is. So that there's just so many various components that are either in play or they're starting to come into play the more that we learn about the virus. So I'm thankful I'm not the one making the decisions and I'm just getting to cover it.
Right. Riley Morningstar's on Twitter at RB Morningstar. Make sure you go follow him and keep up with everything going on in the upstate, Naconia and Pickens County, upstatetoday.com. Riley, my man, appreciate your time, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lawton. Really appreciate it.
Riley Morningstar here on the show that shakes the Southland. 803-450-0086. We've had several text messages come through today. Clemson Tom coming up in just a few minutes here on the program. And, that is a interesting side of what Riley had to say. And I haven't seen that article yet, so I'm trying to pull it up now about what Brett McMurphy tweeted out, I believe, or maybe it was a story. But, okay, so sources told Stadium, this according to Brett McMurphy, that the NCAA advises schools that after a student athlete has confirmed positive COVID test, they won't have to test again for the next 3 months unless they show symptoms. For example, players who test positive in July will not have to test again in October. Now, that in and of itself, I'm going to retweet that so you can go and follow that storyline and see where it heads. That backs me down a little bit off of my excitement about Clemson to a degree. And the reason being is I think when you hear there are 0 cases, you feel like there are 0 cases. But, and again, I don't know the frequency of testing. I know we heard the number was 800 tests. But that would mean that if I were a player and I had tested positive for COVID-19 in July, the 1st of July, if I had tested positive, and then I guess I had, 2 negative tests or whatever you have to get, cleared, then I would only have to take another test if I showed symptoms. Now, that's all well and good if indeed you can't get COVID-19 twice, as I mentioned earlier in the program about an hour ago. But that's an interesting aspect of this that I really think sort of tempers my expectations just a little bit. Again, our poll question is up over on Facebook right now. Will Clemson football be the only sport that plays this year in Tigertown in the fall? Right now, yes, leading the way, just barely though. Not a ton of votes. If you're watching, share the show. Ellen says, boy, I wish we would drop South Carolina altogether. She says, Notre Dame game, right on. Yeah, I'll say this. It is frustrating to think about that when it comes down to the zero, right? The zero bugs me because it's almost a zero. It feels a little like a zero that you would get from not testing at all. Like, hey guys, COVID-19 numbers are bad. I got an idea. Let's just don't test anybody. And if we're not testing anybody, we'll have no new cases. Like, that's sort of the feeling I get when I hear that. But I guess there is some belief from people much smarter than I am, especially in that industry, that it's not something that you will acquire twice in a short period of time. I don't know that, but that seems to be the prevailing conversation that's out there. And hearing that, zero sounds great if you say, yeah, we're testing everybody every day, everybody's getting tested. If we're doing test. But if it's, oh, well, Swanee, he had the virus in July, and as long as he's not symptomatic, we're not going to test him, then that zero is not as impressive to me as it was earlier today.
Well, pardon me, Mr. Perfect!
I'm sorry. It's a good number, yes. But now I want to say, well, okay, then of the 800 tests that have been given, what percentage by week of the football team is tested? Like, what percentage is tested? Like, how's that working right now? I mean, if you've already had COVID-19, you just walk past a screener. I mean, I'm sure they're probably checking your head for the temperature deal. This is a little twist. Not a terrible twist, but a twist. 803-450-0086. You can text us. You can call there and leave a message. We will definitely get out to the text line here momentarily. Clemson Tom set to join the program. For you, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're on twitch.tv/Clemson Sports, if you're hanging out with us that way, by the way, wherever you are, if there's a way to subscribe somewhere, if it says that, click it. If there's a way to share it right now, you know what? Click it. We'll also check Periscope during the break and see if we've got any comments over there. It's amazing. Periscope is much more engaging for whatever reason if I'm not doing a show, but I'm getting in my car to go to the grocery store to chat with you for about 5 minutes. Periscope seems to do a lot better for the short-term videos than the long frame videos that we give you here on the show that shakes the Southland each and every day. 4 until 6 o'clock in the Midlands, 6 until 8 o'clock in the PD. And I got to tell you, that 9:20 a.m. out of Manning is pumping, boy. That thing, I heard it in my driveway in the Midlands yesterday. So be on the lookout. I say that station's in the low country. With the right atmospheric conditions, 9:20 a.m. out of Manning is a monster. Look out for that station. Catch that bad boy on I-26, I-95. Man. But I am thankful to be a part of your afternoons or evenings, wherever you are, whenever you are, catching the podcast. Like my buddy Wig, who's always chiming into the show. Wig's a loyal podcaster. What's up, Wig? welcome to a couple of days behind the rest of the world, because he's always a few episodes behind. So I'll welcome and wig to this current reality for him, in which for the rest of us, it's a Friday. For Wig, we just never know. 803-450-0086. Again, head over to ClemsonSportsTalk.com. This would be a perfect opportunity if you've never joined us to go ahead and start that $1 trial membership. A fantastic interview with one of the top playmakers in the 2022 class over on our website. He called his Clemson offer huge, and he is the #1 rated wide receiver in that class. You know how special wideouts have been to the Clemson Tigers, including an article right now on unprecedented times. The story of Bo Collins and the fact that high school football in the state of California his senior year is non-existent. The next time Bo Collins takes a snap in real full pad football, he'll be a Clemson Tiger. And I saw an interesting piece from Andy Staples today talking about how the 2021 and 2022 classes could potentially be the least evaluated classes in many, many years. I mean, I don't know when that evaluation level kind of ticked up a few notches, but definitely, and I think Andy's got a great point. He said, look, because of that, there are going to be some under-the-radar kids that are going to stay at their local high school, or their local colleges close by. Maybe they have breakout performances, and the transfer market could become sort of a much more wild issue to deal with. And Clemson's a program that's been very hands-off of the transfer portal with Dabo Swinney at the helm. They don't take JUCOs. They just, maybe that philosophy for Clemson might have to be shifted to a degree if they can't evaluate everybody that they'd like to evaluate. It's something to keep in mind. We hit a quick break. We come back. Clemson Tom joins the show that shakes the Southland as we get you home on a Friday afternoon in the great state of South Carolina. Stay with the show.
Here's your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword HOPE to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's HOPE to 200-200. A grand in your hand.
That would help out a ton.
Winner.
Amazing.
After winner.
This will be very helpful.
After winner.
Definitely keep me.
You could be next.
This helps a lot.
Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up.
Listen for your cue to text on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Serious wreck this afternoon on Leesburg Road at Patricia Drive. The roadway is blocked. Other tie-ups, 77 southbound at the Blythewood exit and Clemson at Longtown. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line number is 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
For 28 years, the professional staff of the Hobbs Group and Hobbs Group Advisors has been dedicated to helping others achieve their financial goals by delivering quality, objective financial and accounting solutions to a diverse client base of individuals and businesses all over South Carolina. We offer tax and audit services, bookkeeping, payroll, litigation support, employee benefits, personal financial planning, investment management, and insurance services. Please call us at 803-799-0555 or visit our website, hobbscpa.com, to learn more about our people and services.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing? I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Sharing has never meant as much as it does now. We share the things we love most in life for the world to see. But what if we could actually do more with our sharing than just collect likes? What if this sharing could be used to make a difference? Now there's a place where we can put all that sharing to good use. The National MS Society is asking people to make a difference and share what they love with someone else who loves it too. Whether it's surfing, dancing, or whatever is important to you, we've created a place that'll help you get your experience out to the world. If you have a story, share it. If you have a solution, share that too. Join us at wearestrongerthanms.org, because together, we are stronger.
Families affected by disasters urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those affected by disasters, big and small. Donate to Red Cross Disaster Relief. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Looking for South Carolina's favorite country? You'll find it at 97.5 WCOS.
It is the show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk on a Friday afternoon. Clemson Tom set to join the program in just a second. We'll catch up with him. And again, we've been talking an awful lot about the Clemson Tigers and the news that came out that, 800 tests, no COVID cases in the athletic department right now, both players and personnel. That's a big deal. I think to a degree, we brought up the fact that perhaps that those numbers aren't as great as we think because of the testing practices that are apparently being put in place. But it still seems like a pretty positive step. And I know Clemson Tom's been waiting for some positive news on the college football season. Tom, what's going on, big guy?
Hey, man, we're going to have football season, baby. Don't you even worry about it. It's coming.
It feels like it right now. It does, more than anything, especially after the news today out of Clemson. But and we don't know how Clemson is handling this, okay? But one source told Stadium that the NCAA is advising schools that after a student-athlete has a confirmed COVID-19 test, you don't have to test them again for 3 months unless they show symptoms. Now, that's great if you can't catch it again. That seems fairly logical. But if it turns out that you can get it and be asymptomatic, that could be a bad philosophy, because if you're not testing rigorously and somebody contracts the virus again, they could spread it to everybody else. I mean, it's a weird situation right now. It feels better at Clemson, but if everybody goes by the NCAA's advice, it may not be the best testing protocols, but I don't know.
You know what? I don't care, because we're going to go out there and we're going to play some football. Someone catches a cold, you run that risk during the season anyways. Do you not run that risk? Yes, you do. You run that risk getting injury. Let's just play the daggum game.
Now, word on the street is that they may be backing up the season a couple of weeks. I don't know if that's such a great idea with the student body returning to Clemson at some point along the way. I kind of felt like if the student body is off campus, you might have a better chance to get games in because you can't really isolate the players like you were able to do at the NBA bubble down there where you are in Orlando. It's been great to see Major League Baseball, obviously. But from that standpoint, Tom, do you think the better idea is to push things back further? Or do you think the better idea is what I'm thinking is to just go ahead and fire things off week 1 in September?
Yeah, man, just get it going. I mean, if you push it back, what exactly are you proving? Or what exactly are you doing? Nothing. You're just waiting. You're just prolonging the inevitable. Or it could, the kids can get sick at any given moment, at any given day, no matter what. You can't put a bubble around everyone in the world.
Yeah.
I know they're doing vaccines now. Listened to the radio this morning. There's some vaccine coming out in September.
I think they're running some trials. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they're running some trials on it, so something's out. And it's not like we're running grandmas out there who are
actually this affects them more than anything else. I don't want anybody to get sick or anything else, but
is there a concern
what
though
do you
they're
want?
not paid? Like, I think people are okay with the Major League Baseball guys and the NFL guys because of the money, and the NBA guys because of the money they make.
No, I don't think it's about that. Honestly, we need this as a society. I think the players want to go play. I guarantee you every single one of them will probably sign a waiver if it's like, you know what, if I catch it, I catch it. It's on me. My field that I work in has all been, we haven't stopped since the pandemic. We're considered essential. You know, I'm going to send my 7-year-old to second grade. I mean, he has to get an education. My wife can't do it from home. She's still got a job to do. It's coming to a point in time where wash your hands and wear a mask if that's what it takes. You know, the NBA players have a magic ring on their hand, which I think is complete garbage and a
you
joke.
talked about that.
It's worse than LeBron out there flopping last night. If you breathe on LeBron, he's got coronavirus and he's falling down. Those guys aren't wearing masks, and you can honestly say that basketball is a little bit more touchy-feely than it is football. Because football, you got the patch, you got the face mask, and all this other nonsense. Basketball is basically a tank top and shorts. You know, and you're sweating and you're breathing on everybody and you're hip checking. You know, and you're setting screens. You're touching. They're playing. Then give the players these magic rings. Apparently, you know that's all you need is a magic ring, or put it in those little bubbles that every restaurant has. I can't enter a restaurant without putting on my mask. As soon as I walk in, I can take it off. There's a magic bubble there somewhere. Put those in every football stadium. I don't know what we got to do, but we got to do it. We have to do something. I'm not a doctor.
Tom, speaking of doctors, I don't think we announced the gender of your new baby here on the show yet. You want to let the people know?
We have not. It is. It's going to be a boy. So it's Clemson family name. Hendricks Daly Wilson. So Daly is Caitlin's Irish maiden name. So that's what we're going with. So
I saw the old gender reveal. You know how you know you're old? We didn't do gender reveals when I was a kid. I mean, when I was like having children. That's how I know I'm older than you.
I know. Well, same thing with Xander the first time we went to the doctor, and they're like, "It's the boy." I'm like, "Awesome." So now we're doing gender reveals, and that was even weird with everything going on. Everyone was 6 feet apart, and I was like, whatever. So we popped a little cannon blue powder whenever there was some confetti. Xander's real excited. He wanted a baby brother. So we got 2 boys.
There you go. Got a backcourt working on the rest of the team. Can you fill them out?
Exactly. So it's gonna be fun. So yeah, it's gonna be a dad again. Holy crap! You know.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
Man, congratulations. I know you and the missus are excited, and I'm looking forward to. Did you told us did you tell us a due date? I feel like you did.
I guess January sometime. It's like January 15th or something like that. They just tell me the month it's supposed to be due because the baby's gonna come and the baby's gonna come. You know what I mean? Like Xander was supposed to come like March, and he came April 1st.
Yeah.
You know, so just tell me around. I need a range. You know.
Just get you close.
Yeah, end of January is when he's coming out. So that's what we're looking for. So everyone's excited, man. As long as he's healthy, we'll be good.
If you and the wife had been socially distancing, you wouldn't have been in this situation. But congratulations, my man. And
it was planned, brother. It was planned. This was a planned social engagement.
There you go. Well, we will talk to you. We'll talk to you real soon, brother. Appreciate you.
Have a great weekend.
All right, man. Clemson Tom here on the show that shakes the Southland. 803-450-0086. Tom's ready for sports, man. He is. And there are a lot of people like him. And look, I don't begrudge you for being, as some clouds roll into the Midlands of South Carolina, I don't begrudge you for being excited about wanting to get back out there. But I think we got to be cautious with these student athletes for sure. We hit a break. Stay with us.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Johnson & Johnson's baby powder and shower-to-shower talcum products have been linked to ovarian cancer. In February and May 2016, Johnson & Johnson was and $55 million by 2 juries to 2 women who contracted ovarian cancer after years of using talcum baby powder products. If you or a family member has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and used talcum powder prior to the diagnosis, call Talcum Powder Help Now today at 800-833-0112. You may be entitled to substantial compensation. The consultation is free and you'll pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Don't fight this alone. If you or a loved one used talcum baby powder-based products before being diagnosed or died from ovarian cancer, call Talcum Powder Help now at 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112.
Paid for by Bar Justice.
It's hot. It's really hot. But On-Call will keep your home nice and cool during the hot summer months. Whether you need a minor AC repair or a new system, On-Call is here 24/7 to serve you with trained technicians, not trained salespeople. And be assured, On-Call is taking the necessary safety precautions to keep you and their technicians safe. Contact On-Call Plumbing, Heating, and Air 24/7 at 803-781-HELP or OnCallSC.com.
On-Call Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Pick up the phone and we'll be right there.
Look for clearing skies tonight with lows in the low 70s. Tomorrow, highs in the low 90s. We'll see some clouds and some active late-day storms. For Channel 25 ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is sponsored by Ozzy.com.
Get smarter every day at Ozzy.com. Try a new news site that tells you about the most interesting people, places, and ideas. Discover the next Obama, or maybe the next LeBron James. Try OZY.com right now. Ozzy, it's like a latte for your mind. Get some.
I'm Devin Leary.
And I'm Carolina Barlow.
And we have lost so much to our failed romantic relationships. We're talking time, money,
mental health capacity, clothes,
Starbucks rewards points, insurance premiums, dignity, even a flat screen TV.
Now we're making advertisers pay us to record podcast episodes about it because fair is fair, folks.
iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, and it's easy to see why. Find True Romance on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. I don't know if you've noticed, but we got a lot of food in this country. A lot of peaches, a lot of corn, a lot of apples, a lot of everything. We've got so much food that we can't even eat it all. So if we got all this extra food, how are 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger? I just don't get it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to the hungry kids who need it. They can get you food even if you live in Idaho or Alaska or somewhere crazy like that. This isn't complicated. We got extra food and we've got hungry kids. Feeding America's done the math. Now it's your turn. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. I know you got internet on your phone, so what are you waiting for? We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Type 2 diabetes is a serious chronic health threat in America. It affects tens of millions of people. Many people who have the disease don't know it. Diabetes can cause health problems such as heart disease, strokes, amputations, and blindness. Talk to your doctor, get screened if you're at risk, and learn how to avoid becoming one of the millions of new cases of diabetes each year. You can help prevent type 2 diabetes. A message from CDC and HHS.
Want to hit a home run with your smart speaker?
Just say something like this.
Alexa, play Fox Sports Radio 1400 on iHeartRadio.
It is the show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan with you here. And thank you for being a part of the program. Clemson Tom on with us just a few minutes ago. And it's always great to get his thoughts from the fans' perspective. 803-450-0086. All right, so I'm going to tell this story on the air. Why not? My wife has been texting me. My wife's been texting me during the second half of the program. Her mom wanted to get a new phone, and I'm the tech guy in the family, so, and not that ordering a phone takes a tech guy, but decided that I would help out, do the part, help out the mother-in-law. And so I go in, get the phone she wants. She gives us the credit card information, everything we need to make the purchase happen. And we order it. And so my wife's going to pick it up on the way over there to her house today, taking the kids over there. And this is great. And so we go to pick it up. The store that we ordered it from is closed. Like the store it allowed us to pick on AT&T's website is not open, not available, no inventory, no nothing. So they had to cancel the order. Well, I'm strange about credit card stuff. And so I chewed up the paper. I took the middle part where all the credit card information was. I chewed it up after we had bought the phone. And my wife's texted me. She's like, do you still have the credit card information so that you could order that phone for my mom? And I'm like, no, I chewed it up. And she thought I was kidding, but then she responded. And it's safe to say that I think my wife, I think she thinks I've lost my mind.
Are you nuts?
I didn't want anybody to get their hands on it. So, I mean, I may die of ink poisoning, but nobody's going to get her mom's credit card number because I chewed it up. It's you think a paper shredder can do some damage to credit card information? Don't you worry. Swanee's got you covered. I know, but yeah. So, and the people, they canceled the order anyway, but they were like, well, I don't know why the store, why it would allow you to order it from a store that's closed. Yeah, me neither.
You big dummy.
I don't know either. I mean, that's not my fault. Anyway, we'll see what happens. 803-450-0086. All right, will there be football be the only sport that plays in Tigertown this year? The yeses have taken a little bit more of a lead. 63% say yes, that will be the only fall sport that plays. Only 38% believing that other sports will play. We'll head out to the text line. You can do this as well. 803-450-0086. You can call that number and leave us a message, and we'll also work you in on the program too. So we like to go all around the horn with it. Let's see. This message says, what's your thoughts on Notre Dame possibly being able to play in the ACC championship game? You know, I don't necessarily like it, but as we talked about earlier with West Durham, I think that in this day and age, eyeballs are important. I think that it's an opportunity to begin moving the Fighting Irish into a further relationship with this league. So there are a number of different ways to analyze it. And again, I'm thinking that for this 1 year, especially if they can work out some kind of ad dollar deal, and I think that's going to be key. You can't just, in my opinion, you can't just give and give and give to Notre Dame without getting something back. Now, you certainly get something in terms of their presence in your league, and they're going to be one of the power programs or one of the better programs in college football, it's believed, this year. And you heard West Durham talk about the fact that now that Clemson-Notre Dame game might be one of, if not the marquee matchup in sports this year in college football. Now, I'm trying to figure something out here. The Atlanta Braves and the Mets are playing, and I thought that was a 4 o'clock start, but my information in front of me says it's the 6th inning right now. So I don't know what's going on there. Right now, the Mets leading the Braves. No, 0-0. Sorry. 0-0, bottom of the 6th. They're moving pretty rapidly, apparently. So the game is going at a good pace. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. Braves, nothing. The New York Mets, nothing. That game's on the road for the Atlanta Braves. So we'll be keeping you updated a little bit more on baseball and all the sports that are going on around the world, simply because now we're getting some back. I'm excited about it. But from that standpoint, going back to Notre Dame in the ACC, and again, these are all conversations that are continuing to take place as the leagues try to figure out, and the NCAA tries to figure out how they're going to handle things and what they're going to do. The Notre Dame playing a big role in the Atlantic Coast Conference this year is something that is absolutely out there, and those conversations are continuing to exist. And I think that in this era, we're wide open on everything. Again, here's what Brett McMurphy said about that. They said the ACC's top scheduling model is a 10-league game plus one non-conference foe. Sources say that in this format, if Notre Dame plays 10 Atlantic Coast Conference teams, the results would count in the Atlantic Coast Conference standings. And it's unknown if Notre Dame could earn the ACC's Orange Bowl bid. This would need the Atlantic Coast Conference presidential approval. And again, this is pending presidential approval. Notre Dame would be eligible for the ACC championship. And I have yet to see anything come out that says that they are certainly eligible for it. Some other notes right now. UVA's COVID-19 testing update since the July 5th return to the football program. 235 student athletes have been tested with just 4 positive tests. 3 are from the football team with no hospitalization. So again, positive numbers on the COVID-19 front here, it would seem, on a Friday afternoon. 803-450-0086. We'll put a big old bow on the week and the show when we get back. Make sure you stay with us through the break.
Lawton Swan here, and I know in sports we're always talking about the big guy. Well, let me tell you, when you're buying a car, you don't need that. What you need to do is head down to Orangeburg to my good friends at Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac. 4 generations of family-owned business right there at Ferry Chevrolet. No dock fees, no tricks, straightforward pricing in a low-pressure environment you'll love. Check them out online, ferrychevrolet.com, or call them 803-536-1600. It's Ferry Chevrolet Cadillac, just a short 30-minute drive off of exit 145A in Orangeburg.
My friends at Zero Res want you to know that National Carpet Cleaning Month is this month. And to celebrate, they'll clean 3 rooms of carpet at your house for just $119. Mention me, Kelly Nash, while booking, and get the hallway for free. 803-262-4020 or ZeroResColumbia.com.
Hi, this is Kevin Hunter with Simplified Office Systems. We're here to help you with your home office. Whether you need a large multifunction device or something simple to sit on your desk, we can help with that. We offer products and strategies from HP. We also, with every product, give you remote support, troubleshooting, setup support, whatever you need, we are here to help. We can even put a Clemson logo on that new copy. Contact us by visiting mysimplifiedoffice.com or call us at 888-914-7476. Stay safe, stay strong.
When you get in your car, you need the best directions to get where you want to be.
Will arrive at your retirement in 8
The
years.
same is true for your retirement. You need a voice to guide you along the way. Join Pat Strube for Save Your Retirement with Pat Strube. Pat's 18 years of experience can help make your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street.
Arriving at your retirement.
Saturdays, 6 a.m. on Fox Sports Radio, and Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 9 on 560 WVOC for Save Your Retirement with Pat Strube.
Hey, this is Jonathan Ross for Clark's Lawn and Landscaping. You know, now's the time to check your irrigation to make sure you're ready for the hot days. The dog days of summer are coming. Make sure it's tuned up, efficient, and ready to go with Clark's, and ask them about the app that can save you money on your water bill. Yeah, it attaches to your existing sprinkler system. A beautiful lawn says a lot about your home. Clark's Lawn and Landscaping, the pros in fertilizing your grass and killing your weeds. Don't let weeds be a pain in your grass. Call Clark's at 781-4991. Online, clarksturfpro.com.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
I'm getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to a pop concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I'll have a soft pretzel.
Or B, just roll with it?
Justin! OMG! I love you, Justin! I love you!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app. And on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeart radio station.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
If this is your first time watching, welcome. If this is the 100th show for you or the 1,000th show, welcome. Make sure you share it. If you're on Facebook, we're trying to grow it. Make sure you subscribe where you're watching, twitch.tv/Clemson Sports. Help us continue to grow over on that platform. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. It is not just a 2-hour daily radio show covering the Clemson Tigers, one of the top teams in college football. It is also a show that covers the ACC, the SEC, college sports, full website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com. If you have never been, then I would encourage you to go check out the website. I think you will find that the experience on a mobile device surpasses any Clemson site that you've ever been a part of. And I will tell you, I'm a little giddy, man. I don't know if I think I mentioned this. I have upgraded to the new operating system. I'm loving the widgets. I'm loving the widgets, giving me a little bit of extra goodness there on my phone. So widgets everywhere. It's smart widgets. I'm telling you, if the folks at iHeart need a tech show, I'll be your tech guy. I'll scroll you through. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. One of our texters also said, I got to get a Clemson Sports Talk shirt. Don't forget, we still got our giveaway going over on Facebook. The post is pinned. Not only are we giving away some national championship shirts, we're also giving away some Clemson Sports Talk pins. And we're going to be giving away a limited edition Clemson national championship or a college football playoff football as well. So we got national championship ones coming. I got to get this closet behind me. Okay, there's not clothes in there. It's filled up with a bunch of swag I got to give away. I guess swag's not technically the right word because swag is something we all get. It's a bunch of stuff. Some things for friends. For fans. Yeah, so it's stuff that we got in there. But yeah, I am looking forward to getting some of that stuff out and some of it in your hands. So head over to ClemsonSportsTalk.com's Facebook page and follow the directions over there because we want to make sure that we do get that information to you. Again, just kind of following all the storylines in sports, if you will, here on the program today. And, you know, I think that from the standpoint of where I was a month ago by comparison to today, I'm feeling a little bit better, even though there's still some weird stuff going on with it. Like Fox Sports is going to be putting fake fans in the stadium, cardboard cutouts, I believe is what it's going to be. I saw some individuals, some team somewhere had like the pictures of their children filling in some of the stands. The thing for me, though, when it comes down to this, is I really believe that I think when we look at the way that video games are done, okay, and this is what Fox is doing. Okay, they're not doing. Okay, good. This is better. Just happened to come across this a minute ago, but so they are going to use the virtual fans, similar to what you see, I think, in video games to a degree. And so there will be fake crowd noise, and there will be virtual fans, and I think that's okay. I think that's okay. It's close enough in the video games to feel decent, and I think if you put a real game in the middle of the atmosphere with fake fans, I think it'll be all right. So it's going to be baseball, or not baseball-esque. It's going to be video game-esque, but I think it's going to be unique. So they'll do the wave. They're going to be interactive. This might be the future, folks. And I'm not going to knock it at all. I like the idea. The closer to reality we can get. Fake fan noise, great. I'm creeped out more by cardboard cutouts, but then I'm excited because I was hopeful. I kind of started thinking, man, what if they did digital stuff? But this looks like that's what it's going to be. Digital, enhanced, fans in the stands for you to watch. So that turned out to actually be a story more closely tied to what I was hoping for than I initially expected. So kudos to Fox for making that work. Fox Sports, man. Gonna try anything and everything, even as weird as it might look, to feel more normal. And I'll definitely tune in to that. Let me see if I can find out what matchup. I know I've got less than a minute. See if I can find out what game that is going to be a part of virtual fans in the stands during the MLB games this Saturday. So the Fox baseball games tomorrow, Saturday. Wig, I don't know when you're listening. Could have been a couple of days ago for Wig. He's a podcast listener that texts us all the time. The reality is that's going to happen Saturday. The virtual reality is. I can't wait to see how it looks. Thank you again to Clemson Tom, Riley Morningstar, and Wes Durham for being a part of the program today. Again, get that premium subscription on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Just $63.17. If you think this show is worth 18 cents a day, come over and support us. Until Monday at 4 o'clock in the Midlands, 6 o'clock in the PD and the Low Country, I'm Lawton Swan signing off. Make sure you check out the ACC Tailgate, another podcast I'm a part of. We'll kick that off Sunday night at 7 o'clock on Twitch as well. We'll be back, though, on Monday. Until then, as always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers!
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports. Fox Sports Radio 1400. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Look out for a wreck on I-20 eastbound near the Spears Creek Church Road.